Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan and INEC. Atiku Abubakar, Nasir El-Rufai and Aminu Tambuwal visit Muhammadu Buhari at his Kaduna residence. On the foreign scene, Beijing increases tariffs on U.S. imports to 125%, hitting back against Donald Trump's 145% tariff. Good evening. This is the news at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Damilola Raphael. We begin in Rivers State, where a group of women today protested the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the declaration of emergency rule in the state. The protest began early Friday morning with the women chanting slogans and demanding an end to what they perceive as an unconstitutional state of affairs in Rivers State. During a march to the government house in Port Harcourt, the women also demanded a return to democratic governance in the state. In a statement signed by Nansen Wakwo, Tamuno Belema West, and Cynthia Amadi, the group said the actions of Ibokete Ibas, the state's sole administrator, are becoming provocative and illegal. The women implored prominent Nigerians, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Muhammadu Buhari, and Goodluck Jonathan, to intervene in the restoration of democratic rule in Rivers. On March 18, the President Bola Tinubu declared emergency rule in the oil-rich state, citing a protracted political crisis. He also suspended Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odu, and all members of the Rivers Assembly for an initial period of 6 months.
Call for the restoration of democratic leadership. We, the women of Rivers State, gathered under the banner of justice and democracy, express our deep concern and total rejection of the recent declaration of state of emergency in our beloved state. This imposition is not driven by any genuine threat to national security, but is clearly a politically motivated maneuver aimed at subjugating our people and undermining our constitutional democracy. The overreach of the sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, retired, is a glaring indicator of this political conquest. His actions, which go far beyond the limited powers of a placeholder, betray the impartiality expected of his office and reveal the real intention behind this emergency rule. A calculated power grab under the guise of national interest. We find it utterly confounding that the federal authorities in Abuja, relying on conjecture and manufactured narratives, would choose to descend with the full weight of force on Rivers State, deploying a sledgehammer to kill a fly, while ignoring the dire security emergencies ravaging other states like Borno, Yobe, Zamfara, Kaduna, Plateau, and Benue. In these states, terrorists have overrun entire communities, taking control of local governments and brutally murdered thousands of innocent citizens. Yet, no such declaration of emergency has been made. If the National Assembly intentions was truly to prevent a breakdown of law and order in Rivers State, a state that has remained relatively peaceful and has recorded no fatal incidents, why has it failed to take even more decisive actions in states where chaos and bloodshed are daily occurrences? The unconstitutional and provocative actions of the sole administrator further expose the underlying political agenda at play. What are we witnessing is not governance, it is occupation. Not democracy, but autocracy. Today, Rivers people, especially women, are outraged by what is fast becoming a dual system of laws in Nigeria. One for which states another, unjust and repressive for Rivers people. We reject this blatant political invasion and the imposition of emergency rule in its entirety. Accordingly, we made the following demands. One, we appeal to the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as mothers and wives, to reinstate all democratic institutions in Rivers State, including the return of our dear duly elected governor, His Excellency Governor Siminalayi Fubara, GSSR, our restore.
A federal high court in Lokoja has ordered substituted service of hearing notices on two petitioners in the recall case between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Justice Issa Dashen of the Federal High Court granted the plaintiff's ex parte application for substituted service on Thursdays through Counsel Ehige West Idahosa. On March 20, the plaintiffs Anebe Jacob Ogrima, John Adebisi, Musa Siyaka Deza, Ahmed Usman, and Malik Yahya, through their counsel, obtained an ex parte motion preventing INEC from receiving any recall petition against Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan. However, on March 24, the same court vacated the ex parte order after INEC filed an application arguing that no person or institution could prevent it from fulfilling its constitutional duties. On the same day, some constituents from Kogi Central presented their petition to recall Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan over alleged misconduct in the National Assembly. Although INEC declared the petition incompetent and null, the plaintiffs continued their case, adding petitioners Salihu Habib and Charity Omole as defendants. During the hearing, West Idahosa, represented by Smart Nwachimere, stated that the duo were among those who signed the petition against Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan. In the meantime, former presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, and former Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal have visited former President Muhammadu Buhari at his Kaduna residence. According to a video posted on Atiku's verified X handle, other politicians who visited Buhari on Friday included the former Minister of Communications, Issa Pantami, former Governor of Imo State, Achike Udenwa, former Governor of Benue State, Senator Gabriel Suswam, and former Governor of Adamawa State, Jibrila Bindo, among others. Atiku, who took to his verified X handle on Friday to disclose the visit, described it as a wonderful time with the former president. The former vice president, however, did not disclose the details of the meeting's agenda and its outcome. In Oyo State, at least 12 shops have been razed in a late-night fire at Araromi Market, Agodi Gate, Ibadan, the state capital. The fire, which reportedly started around 11 p.m. Thursday night, happened within the cement trading section of the market. It affected at least 12 shops before it was put out by men of the Oyo State Fire Service. In a release issued by the Oyo State Fire Service manager, Akinyemi Akinyinka, the control room got a distress call around 11 p.m. about the fire, and it promptly swung to action. 12 shops were already engulfed before the intervention. Akinyinka added that the timely intervention saved goods worth billions of naira in the process as the fire was put out. He added that the fire was the result of upsurge of electricity, which ignited nearby combustible materials. In the meantime, the Lagos State government has sealed off certain markets in the Ketu and Mile 12 areas of the state for persistently flouting the state waste management law. The State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, made this known in a post via his X handle on Friday morning. Wahab noted that the markets were closed for persistent violations, including illegal waste disposal of roads, medians, and highways, which are contrary to the Lagos State Environmental Management and Protection Law of 2017. He said the exercise took place on Thursday night, stating that the closure was crucial for safeguarding public health in the country. While acknowledging that Nigeria's security agencies are doing their best under challenging conditions, he stressed the need for increased international cooperation in addressing the growing threat of banditry and terrorism.
Politicians are one of the problems that's worrying the country. Because when we look at the threats that face the nation, we can talk about religion, we can talk about ethnicity, we can talk about all kinds of things. But one of the major ones that people don't understand are the politicians, because the way they behave or the way they shape things, you know, you were mentioning the United States. Look, find out what is going on here. The leader, you know, is the one that shapes the future. You know, the police itself, I've said it many, many times. When the police, the Nigerian police force was created to protect the colonialists, you know, and when the colonialists left, a new set of masters come into play. Those are the politicians. And the politicians, instead of behaving now as, you know, citizens, whereby the police is supposed to pursue criminals, they now use the police to protect themselves. And then, of course, they continue what we call regime protection. But the military itself is very, very thinly spread. Thinly spread in the sense that, you know, the whole military we have, army, police, you know, the whole of them, army, navy, air force, police, NSCDC, DSS, all of them put together are not up to 2 million. In a country of 230 million, is looking at drones. And these drones are unmanned. And they are, of course, predator drones. They go in there, you don't know they're there, they finish the job and come back. Now, how many do we have? Kidnappers. They cannot be in Abuja, and somebody is being kidnapped. Time should not be more than.
The federal government has refuted claims that President Bola Tinubu's political appointments are lopsided. Recently, Tinubu has faced criticism for allegedly favoring the Southwest, his home region, particularly with his appointments. On Monday, Senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, said Tinubu's appointments have not reflected the diversity mandated by the 1999 Constitution. But in a statement on Friday, Director of Information in the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Segun Imohiosen, asked the public to disregard the unfounded speculations on Tinubu's appointments. Imohiosen said all appointments are made in strict adherence to the federal character principle, as stated in Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution. He added that Tinubu believes strongly in the unity of Nigeria and is guided by the ideals of fairness and tenets of justice in all appointments. The director described those pushing the narrative of sectionalism as pokers of embers of hate and disunity, whose claims should not be taken seriously. You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come, President Bola Tinubu meets with U.S. State Department Senior Advisor for Africa, Massad Boulos, in France. We will bring you more on this when we return.